Okay, there's the Dana. That's the big card. We also wanted to force that out round 2, but we didn't. So that's a little bit awkward. We go for our Detlef.
There is no other way.
Hopefully he doesn't have anything big left. He didn't play the Dusk aspect either, which is annoying. And he has a really good hand, I guess, left over. He still has Dust aspect. Well, that's not the best, as they say. However, our Regis is still really big. I don't think it's big enough, though. He already had the Beast. So close game, that's for sure. Very close game. Do take the win in the end. So we're going to be playing vampires today. We're playing non-devotion vampires. And this was a request in particular to play with Crimson Curse and the Detlef, which I think is very interesting. This is my favorite way to play vampires as well. It gives you some good consistency since you're not playing devotion. You can run things like Oneiromancy and Royal Decree, just in the deck in general, not because you're running these two. And then you're also playing Renfri, and I don't like Renfri, so that makes me happy. There's also some advantages to these two, which we'll get into when we get through the deck, but basically they're here to give you more bleeding from the Blood Moons. And the Blood Moon, they both have like overall good value. Like Detlef, you're probably going to get 4 turns of Blood Moon, which is good, and he's worth 6. You get 5 turns from Crimson Curse, and it's worth 6. And then Detlef has that engine and the ability to spawn the Ekamar. If you ever get that going, it's really, really good. So as far as deck, we're going to be playing that Blood Scent. We have the Crystal Skull with the Oneiromancy and the Royal Decree. The reason we have both is to set up our Operator. Operator round 1 on the Flutter is just, it makes the whole game go so much nicer if you have it set up already. So we definitely want to play that. Double consistency is also really good for making sure you do see your Regis Reborn when you want him. Here's typically your last card, but if you don't draw him, you feel really bad. And then since we have Oneiromancy running the Heatwave, there's not that many tall things running around, but I have seen like the Night scenario, and then you see things you want to remove, and just Heatwave's generally just quite good. So we're going to be playing that since we had the Oneiromancy to find it. That also helps out quite a bit there. Then with the Crimson Curse and Detlef, we kind of touched on the Royal Decree. Then we are running the Orianna. So Orianna, I don't always play in vampires, but in this deck I think she'll be quite good, just because Crimson Curse and Detlef can help put out bleeding on so many different units. It gives her a lot of synergies, and she can put out the big bleeding on her own for the Flutter. And if people don't answer her, she's really big. Typically they can't answer all the Flutters and Orianna, but Orianna does have that ranged restriction, which is a little bit painful. But if you got Crimson Curse out and then maybe Detlef in a long round, you play her, she might get like 6 or 8 a turn, and that's really hard to deal with. We're playing the Toad Prince for a bit of control. We have Toad Prince and Heatwave for our main control cards, and usually that's going to be okay. Toad Prince is just really good, right? And it's good tempo as well, so I felt like we should include him. If you don't want to include the Heatwave and Toad Prince, go more engine focused, you can throw in the Katakan and Protoflutter if you want. That's fine too. Or you can throw in Cave Troll and one of them. Up to you. Then we've got the Operator. Like I said, we just want Operator round 1 pretty much all the time. Just use it on the Flutter, and then you're feeling really good. It's also not too bad on some other cards, but ideally you're going to be using on the Flutter. Like, it's not, giving your opponent something else usually lets them get value from it, which isn't ideal. You can also use it on a Garcane, is the next one you might consider if you don't have the Flutter, but that's not as good, right? Then we're running double Incubus. Incubus is here to bring back the Flutters. This works. This is another reason why we want to have the double consistency cards to get our Operator, right? We want to set up the Incubus. You're like, Operator on Flutter, play the second Flutter, hopefully it carries round 1 for you. And then in round 2, you just go Incubus and bring back the Flutter you gave them, and your Flutter, and then you're set up to go again. Especially if you drew the second one or something like that. If they do have, this is the thing that doesn't always work out, is sometimes you can't get the Flutter back. Like, for example, they're playing Nilfgaard, and they Slave Infantry it. well, you can just bring back like a 5 and then bring back the Nakarat, which is our card we're getting to, but Incubus is just really good in general. Then we have the 2 Alps. You can swap the Alps for whatever you want here. I just thought they're really nice. They're 10 value for 5 if you get the order off and the bleeding ticks. They synergize with Flutter. They help set up the Regis Reborn. They're just really good in the deck, so we're running 2 of them. I've seen a lot of people just run 1 or 0, but I do like it, so we are going to be including it. The double Necra, it's what our Crystal Skull goes on like every single time. Very nice. It's a really strong engine, particularly with the Flutter, but it is vulnerable to movement, so that's one thing that's a little unfortunate with it. Then we have the 1 Feast of Blood here. I like Feast of Blood over, was it Undying Thirst? Because you can run Undying Thirst, and Undying Thirst works extremely well with Flutter, because it's 6 bleeding and you get 6 on it. I just like running Proto Flutter in the decks with Undying Thirst, because sometimes they have a defender to stack all the Undying Thirst on it, you have to Proto Flutter it. But in this case, we have the Feast of Blood, which does purify an enemy, so it's a second purify for a deck. The reason I opted for this is like seeing a lot of Siri Nova decks, and just having another purify is quite good. And then also gives out bleeding, which is nice. And Undying Thirst is kind of a risky card. If you draw it around 3, for example, it's really bad. So I just am opting for Feast of Blood here. I used to play Undying Thirst when I used Megascopes as well to make as many flutters as possible. I think in this version, we're going to Feast of Blood and no Undying Thirsts. You can change it if you want. I would swap the probably Plumards out for the Undying Thirst if you want to run it. Then we have the 2 Garcanes. This is good for Provision Bronze Engine. The 2 Plumards. The Bonded effect is actually quite interesting now. Usually, the old Bonded effect was 4 bleeding. Generally, 4 bleeding, 4 to 5 is what you can expect from the Bonded effect now. But sometimes they have a really big base power card. For example, if you're playing against a Melusine deck, when they resurrect the Melusine, you can put out like 19 bleeding, which would be amazing, but I don't think that's going to happen. But yeah, it has a higher upside than before. Then we have the 2 Bruxes, just good 4 Persian card. So that's the deck. Should be pretty good overall. I've tried it out a little bit, it seems fine, and I'm kind of excited to get into some more games and see just how it does. I do really enjoy playing vampires. Going up against Handbuff. Interesting. Haven't seen a lot of Handbuff lately. We need to draw a Regis though, because there's like 100% chance this guy's running Ehorax. And getting Regis Ehorax is possibly the worst thing that can happen in the entire game. Like possibly the worst Ehorax target in the entire game. And we didn't draw it, so that's probably what's going to happen. Very unfortunate. Nice. We got him. Okay. I was going to be real nervous for a minute there. But in this case, we lose probably Toad Prince. Oh no, Detlef. That's not that bad. If he Ehorax Detlef. Could be worse. Definitely want to bleed him round 2. The nice thing is our deck sort of wants to do the same thing anyway, right? We want to win round 1 with big engines and bleed round 2. Just how you play against these things.
I foresee victory for you.
So that's nice at least. Do we have a Flutter? We do. So that's also nice. We'll just go in with our Operator here. Grab him. Operator on the Flutter. And just throw out that nice leader charge. Get this all going. We actually have both Flutters, which is really key for the round 2 push. It's going to be really useful. Got that Nekarat. We don't have protection for the Nekarat, but Alp should fill in a little bit there at least. There's some hand buff. Like I said, we can't really do anything about the hand buffing. Right, we just have like the 1 heat wave. These are too big for us to put the Toad Prince on. The way around that is we give this guy bleeding. And when it gets down to 4, we Toad Prince it. That's probably worth doing, because everything else is going to be boosted the rest of the game. So probably Oniromancy out, the Toad Prince this round, which gives us access to Oniromancy next round for the Heat Wave probably. It's just, if he starts boosting it, that plan doesn't really work, but we're going to throw down another Flutter next turn, and then go double Flutter. We might even triple Flutter. Just because this round 1's so important, we just can't lose it, no matter what. And he recognizes that killing Nekarat's really good. Which is true, it is really good. Definitely throw down the second one here. Is it worth killing this off? It kind of jams his row for Trish Meteor Shower, for being honest. Like a 1 in the Meteor Shower row isn't bad. So I think we leave it. So he's going to go Renfri's gang. Like, this means it's Renfri, which is kind of expected, right? So if we leave this in this row, the Renfri gets worse because it can't be a, like, 5-power unit or something. Why didn't he kill this? I'm confused. Very confused. Do we go triple on the Flutter here? I'm a little tempted. We could go Flutter, this. I think we go triple on the Flutter here. We could have gotten a couple more points these last turns with these leader charges, but I do want to hold on to a couple of them for next round when we Incubus, just because we know we're going to be doing it. Okay. Still hand buffing. Now we have 1, 2, 3, 4 vampires. We could go Alp here, which we will. Then next turn, when he goes Meteor Shower, we can counter the Meteor Shower's giant play with the... Where is she? The Oriana? I mentioned Toad Princing this at some point, but at this point, we've been so busy setting up our own engines. Okay, there it is. We just match that with Oriana, which should be fine. Obviously, Meteor Shower is insane, but that's why we jammed it with this row, left this here. So we go Oriana, drop her, give you like 6 bleeding or something, 5, 15 on our guys. Throw this one out, throw this one out. And yeah, triple Flutter is pretty good. Keep in mind, he definitely has a Guerilla of some type in the deck. We're not sure if it's in his hand. He's already played this and this. He has not played a consistency card. Well, I mean, he thinned with Renfri's gang, but he hasn't, like, Meteor Triss Butterflies or whatever. And yeah, we got the win on even. Yeah, triple Flutter is pretty good. Then we save that Oriana for the big finisher play there. Kind of like you would play a Feast of Blood, but, you know, it worked out. So ideally, we'd actually go for both of our Incubi this round. So we want bleeding cards. We got leader. This gives bleeding. This gives bleeding, so we're actually tempted to keep it. This is better than this or not? Let's redraw this one. All right, we got a lot of what we're looking for here. So we're gonna go right away. Bring back Flutter. I think is better than bringing back Farseer or this. So I don't think he has any bleeding cards. And we're just gonna do this, then Oneiromancy jam the second Incubus right away. And I think we're actually in a really good spot. Renfri's gonna have to go for a destroy here, I think. I think he's actually gonna have to use the leader to destroy this Flutter. If he does that, we're actually not too bad. Yeah, he's gonna have to go for the destroy. He's gonna get the cooldown, probably. But I don't intend on playing the round 3 at this point. Okay, he's gonna go for the pass one. That's fine. We're just gonna go Oneiromancy. Get the second Incubus. This time we'll grab the Farseer. Grab our Flutter. And then drop this leader right away. Then we can drop this Detloff for the Crimson Curse, and we're feeling pretty good. Wagenberg. That's interesting. I've seen this a couple times. I'm not sure I agree. Like, I understand it's here to protect your engines or whatever. I'm not sure I agree with it being necessary. It did save him a damage there.
Special prize, just for you, love.
All right, so if we put bleeding on this, we could get an Ekamara. I do like that because it minimizes the chance of the... Like, if we put bleeding on one of these, then the Blood Moon hits it. It'll block damage on the armor. So I'm kind of down for this. Just get the Ekamara. We're up by 20 here, so he's going to have to play his hand-buffed cards, which is quite good, and he had to use this order. So I think we're in a pretty good spot, no matter what happens here. We just have to force out the cards that are boosted in his hand. This isn't going to do anything no matter where we put it. Let's do this 3 bleeding here.
Your blood smells good.
I was thinking we could put the bleeding on the Renfri, and then we could hit with this on the Renfri, but I was thinking about that. Turns out we just got it anyway. Okay, there's the Sheldon. Kind of figured we were going to lose something here. Okay, so there's Sheldon. We do need to bleed out all of his boosted cards, I believe. So I believe we will drop the Heat Wave on this Sheldon. There's an Igni for 12. Oh, more than 12. That was a really big Igni. Do we want to force out the Torque? If we go to a short round without Regis, are we advantaged? And which is bigger, Regis or Torque? The Torque is probably bigger, so I think we want to trade them out. So we will do that. We're probably gaining value here, because this is probably like a 25. Yeah, 27. So we gained value there. He does have his 4 carryover. So this is going to be a little rough. Toad Prince is going to be a nice card. Honestly, Crimson Curse wouldn't be bad either. It's not the best, because we're going first. None of these cards are actually amazing here. It's not bad. That makes our Crimson Curse pretty unfortunate, but I think we still play it. It's our best tempo card we've got left. I was really hoping he'd spawn this with the Dwarves, but this is the right choice to not spawn it with the Dwarves. We could consume that. Here's the thing. If we Neckarot it, we have a 50-50 of it dying, which probably wins us the game. Then again, we don't know his last card can be consumed by Toad Prince. Toad Princing it is the safe play. Then I'm not sure we win though. Right, because we Toad Prince it, this is a 4. This could be second Farseer. I think to win, we have to do this, but it's risking a loss. We hit the wrong one. So that is Toad Principle. So we're still fine here. We're still fine, so we can consume this. See how close that was, though? If his last card wasn't Toad Principle, like wasn't a 4, we would have lost. Well, I guess we could consume the other one, because he got +4. But that was rough. Like, I think if we just Toad Prince the 1, we deny him, I think we lose the game. So, I think we made the right choice there, but it was a hard situation. So we're facing Ursine Ritual. This will be interesting. It's probably a self-wound with Svalblood. Although I have seen some other versions running around. Incubus is really round 2 or 3 card. We've drew the Flighter, which is really good because we want to Operator it. You can't decree out the Flighter to Operator it. It has to be in your hand, so that's a little bit of a painful thing. I think we'll actually keep the Incubus just in case this is a raid deck. It's not usually a raid deck, but I've seen one or two. Although, actually, we have double tutor cards. We don't need to. 2 Bruxas, probably not. And no Neckarot. Oh, I mean, we've got 1 Neckarot, but I think we'll just open with that. We're open Operator and Leader. Operator and Leader is what we typically want to go for, so that's what we'll do. It's just better because you get an extra turn of bleeding out for your Regis Reborn. Make sure we click on Flutter. We'll save the Crystal Skull for our Necrot. We've got the Swallowblood Priest, so it looks like just Self-Wound. They have some potentially scary plays, so we have to be a little careful. One thing that I've noticed playing these vampire decks is you want to be a little mindful that it is very tempting to throw it on the second Flutter like every time. But here, it's not always the best idea. Okay, you know, our goals changed. We probably should Heatwave this Melusine. I kind of want to try and go for a Plumard Bonded on it with the Flutter for the content, but it's probably incorrect to do that. So instead, we're going to be smart. We're going to be smart as much as being smart's unfun. This is a pretty good turn to actually Heatwave this. Actually, this is a good turn to do it. The reason it's a good turn to do it is because this, like, we're not in danger here, and can't give Melusine bleeding, so this is a good time. Let's just drop this here. Obviously, we don't want to bleeding that, so we'll just drop a Garcane here. That's all looking pretty good. Olaf. Now that's an interesting card. Very interesting. Again, probably not something we want to be bleeding, but with Olaf out, we have to expect the Heim combo. If he's going the Heim combo, we probably do want the Flutter. So we'll do this. We lose a cooldown on our Necrot for this, but it's fine. At 8, this isn't so bad to bleeding. Just because nothing else is good to target with it anyway. So here comes the Heim. It's been a while since we've seen this. Hey, there he is. Still a neat combo. I do like it. It's kind of fun to see every now and then. Then here we'll just drop in the Bruxa. This still has one more turn, because we'll go down to 4 this turn. Probably going to drop our Alp. I would rather not use Detlef just because this deck can have very explosive rounds. So he's going to trigger it here. That's pretty good. There's the Ceres. Interesting. This does heal and damage. So we just want to be, again, still targeting only damaged units. Question is, do we want the Detlef here? I think we do. I think we do. Just because we're in danger of him playing like a high tempo card and causing us some problems. Yeah, like this one, for example. Because right now, we're still fine. So if we pass here, we win on even, right? No, this gets hit down to 3, so it heals. So 1, 2, 2 damage. This goes back up to 8. And this gets +2. So yeah, we should play a card here. Let's go with the Alp. It's a very safe play. Do we want to refresh this? Not really. Not really, so we'll just put this on the Olaf. The bleeding's not going to do much no matter what we put it on, just because Ceres has the heal and stuff. He's going to go for the refresh. We might pass here. We'll see what his last play is. Well, not his last play, like his next play. Potentially the last one of the round. I'm okay dropping the Queen of the Night still. Okay, there's the Mardrome. He has the heal. It's not going to give him too much value. Alright, so we can pass here. We won't win on even. Because I think what's going to happen here, I just said win even earlier. I meant like win with a good advantage. The thing is, he does have this Not the Callus. And I don't want him winning on even, so I think we give him the pass. I think this is the safe thing to do. We still have our Blood Moon going. I kind of thought the Blood Moon would hit one of the guys with bleeding already. It's really good that it didn't, just because it... Okay, well that's one way to win. I was going to say, because it's really good it didn't. It gave us an extra 2 points on these guys, but I guess he just doesn't have the value here. Imprisonment, so probably Renfri. Just probably just like imprisonment Renfri value. Curse Scroll really tells me it's Renfri also. Means we have to have our Regis dodge a Traherne. Everyone's favorite interaction. Let's put... Well, we're probably gonna loot. We're probably gonna get locked, which is annoying. We don't have a... Oh, we do have a flutter. Oh, we're playing Kolgrim. Oh, yes. Now I'm excited for the game. I'm so excited. Let's go here. Let's get our operator. Spawn a flutter. Okay, our problem here. Our problem here is that we don't have the Heat Wave in our hands, so we're never going to draw it. We also don't have the Oniromancy. Just how Kolgrim works. Alright, we're never going to draw the cards that aren't in our starting hand. There's the lock.
It's mocking me, I can tell.
We go second flutter. Let's go Nekarot. This way, if we purify the flutter, we can get it boosted again without leadering. Though to be fair, he's probably just gonna coded weapons it. Ooh, toxicologist.
Protective eyewear and handling toxins, they said.
We're gonna need to figure out a way to beat the value of his Golden Necker round 1. So that looks like a fun challenge. Looking forward to. Is the reason this didn't cool down, by the way? Like, why is the cooldown timer going on it? I'm not sure about that. Here he locks us again. Because of course. We're going to draw the Golden Necker off of this. I think we have to go Bruxa. Go Bruxa. Probably Death. Or we just go Crimson Curse. I think we just go Crimson Curse. You just go Crimson Curse here. I think that's the answer. This is the Golden Necker Kolgrim. Then I think we go Detlef melee. So we definitely want to Toad Prince that at some point.
You're all the same.
He might pass here. Although, to be fair, he probably doesn't pass. You don't really pass in a Golden Necker deck here. He has the series still. Oriana should give us the round, hopefully. I wouldn't mind a Garkin or something. Oh no, of course, we get the Guardian. We could just play the Guardian. It's not that bad. We're not really going to need it. Oh, we should have hit this instead. That way, if it takes 2 damage, we don't lose the bleeding value. Garkin or Flutter? Or we just play the Guardian. Let's just go Bruxa. Let's just go Bruxa. That's like the safe thing to do here. Bleed this. Might take the 2 damage. Might not. Then I think we go Flutter, Oriana. Well, Flutter, leader, Oriana. I think we need the extra point from the leader. Hopefully we get the 2 damage Blood Moon hitting this at some point. We just Gorthering? Or we abducting? Sandor time. Yeah, it is. Okay. So hit this. Drop our Flutter in. Drop this in. And let's see what he wants to do here. He can't be Golden Necker then, because he has the Sandor. That makes me a little more confident, but not that much. So here's the abduction. He's going to get something good, obviously. There's a coded weapon. Can't actually kill this. It's fine, I guess. The good news for us is that Oriana actually does a lot here. In theory. That's 6 bleeding for Flutter, then she's at 4 a turn. More with the Blood Moons out for a little bit, so this isn't too bad. It's just the Vilgefortz is going to be annoying. Okay, we can just consume that one at least. Actually, do we want to? Toad Prince is one of the only tempo cards we're going to have for the rest of the game. Kind of don't want to. Let's just drop this thing. I don't want to put this back in our deck. We shouldn't need much more value here. We get punished exactly if he Vilgefortzes, but yeah, so that's going to be fine. Problem is, our deck's full of garbage now. He gets 2 more garbages here. Everyone loves Kolgrim, don't they? Don't want that. Don't want that. I mean, we could kind of work with this. The only problem is, we're never getting this Heat Wave and this Oneiromancy. So, the only way to beat the Kolgrim is to make him play it this round. It's the only thing we really have as an option. We're also never drawing our Regis. Just open with the Bruxa. He obviously still has Abduction. But yeah, if we can't get him to use this Kolgrim here, we lose. And also, if he's... Oh, we're getting Cantarellid also. Of course we are. And then if he's playing Renew, we also lose. But I mean, what are you going to do? We just didn't draw the... Heat Wave. It's the big old drone. Just throw it on the Alp. We'll Flutter next turn with the leader. I think we might have to play the round 3, so the leader will probably become relevant there. Problem is we don't have a Toad Prince target right now. But we can wait to save him for last. Okay, there's the defender. We do need him to Kolgrim. If he plays the Kolgrim, we're actually going to be okay, I think. But he might not play it till the last card. Of course, that might not be true, because this is probably Letho Kingslayer. If he does pass, we lose, but I mean, there's no way you just pass here. We only need a 6-point card. Okay, play the Kolgrim. Oh, he's being smart about it. Play that ranged. Please. I need to consume it. guess he still has his Kolgrim. That is very unfortunate. And there's no way we're going to draw into our good cards here. I mean, actually we could. You put some stuff on the bottom. I didn't full clog the top. We just need our Heat Wave. Or our Oneiromancy. Just we're probably not getting either is the problem. And we drew this, so that's GG.
Got ya, you bleating son of a dope.
He's just too good. It's just incredibly frustrating because we do have the answers. We just didn't draw them, but that's how these decks work, right? That's just how they work.
If you believe in any gods, pray to them now.
At least we can Toad Prince that. Yeah, we just don't have the Heat Wave. Like, it's in our deck. The Oneiromancy's in our deck. We just didn't draw it. The Regis in our deck. We just didn't draw them. But that's what these players think is fun, so.
No door is closed. And I'll behave, I promise.
Your powers of deduction seem to have waned not one bit.
So this is going to be a Harmony deck, probably. At least we have our Regis in our hand. That makes it a little bit better. Looking for better engines than that. Okay, so obviously we just do our standard opener with the operator here. Make a flitter. And we're going to lose our Detlaf to the Ehorax. That's not that bad. Could be a lot worse, as in it could be Regis. Okay, we're not going to play it.
I don't want it.
Okay, haven't seen a lot of Ehorax lately, I guess. It's fine. And this is not a Saskia commander. So this round should pretty much just be a win. We'll take it easy. Obviously, when he transforms, this goes away, but this is going to... has enough bleeding on it already. I don't care that much. Oh, he's just going to do a Purify on that one. Okay. So we'll do our Alp here. This gets the 3. This gets the 2. I don't really want to play another Flutter, but we will because we have double Incubus. He's definitely passing. This is why I was saying we didn't really want to play this. So round 2, we have an Incubus, that's good. Have an Alp, that's good. This is good. We've got this. Looking like a round 2, we're definitely gonna pressure.
Satisfaction guaranteed.
Now we have to watch out. We do know he's gonna poison and kill our Flutter. We have a second one in our hand. Okay, there's the Saskia. Saskia is a very nice card to do Crimson Curse on. Well, potentially, because it can potentially kill her. It probably won't, but we'll get it out, and it should help us with stuff like this guy. Feels like time for this. Let's do this. And we'll do this. This way, if we hit the 2 damage here, we can consume it. We didn't, though. So, it's worth doing that. Because if we get the 2 damage on that from the Blood Moon, we can consume it with Toad Prince. It makes the round easier. Although, we can always consume the Chameleon. Probably what we'll end up doing is no Scenario also. We do have Heat Wave for Scenario. But we could just let him have the Scenario and then count on Heat Waving the Dust aspect. If we Heat Wave the Scenario, then he loses a lot of value this round. I think it's worth the Heat Wave here. He's actually going to lose his Saskia. I said that probably wouldn't happen, but it looks like it's going to, so won't complain about that, even though we don't get the 4 points on the Flutters. Their value's not that high anyway, just because we know he's running poisons. At least one of them will die. Yeah, so there's the first poison. We have a Purify for that, which we'll definitely be using here. It's possible he doesn't have both Dryad Rangers in hand, which would be really good for us, obviously. And I think we saved this just to eat a Chameleon at some point. Like, we could consume these here, but I think we want to hold off for Chameleon. We do have a very, very big, so he just have the second poison package then. He's got the second Ranger, I mean. That's fine. It's fine, we go with the Alp. And, well, we also have Toad Prince here. But I think we want to save the Toad Prince just because the, if he does have the Chameleon, it's worth so much more that I think we just want to hold it in case of that. And the next turn we drop Oriana, and that should be quite good. He's going to get the second one off this, that's fine. Oh, he's actually playing the full 5 poisons. Don't always see that. Going to move it melee, I guess? It's a deploy, though. Okay. I mean, we're probably going to win this game anyway, but we won it faster. Harmony. So we're both playing really heavy engine decks. This will be an interesting matchup. We have to draw our Regis, so we don't get it Ehoraxed, but not looking good on that front so far. Alright, next card, please be Regis. If Regis gets milled, it's like one of the worst cards in the game to get milled by Ehorax. And unfortunately, kind of looks like that's what's about to happen here. We just go Operator right away, obviously. This is pretty much how we want to start every single game. Operator into Crystal Skull Necrot and second Flutter. The ordering on that's up to you. Who's ready to lose Regis? Oh, we have, this probably means that there's no Ehorax to call the forest. That's good then. I'm much happier with that. We're going to need, I think, as many of our Necrots as possible here. And I'm actually tempted to consume this with Toad Prince right away, just to stop any, like, playing the elf. Oh, no premium this one. Yeah, just, like, stop him playing the elf and stuff. We could also go for Crimson Curse, because it has the option of hitting Saskia. The problem with going for the Toad Prince is it delays our own engine development, so I think we'll opt for this Necrot. This is usually what you want to do. I was just debating if we wanted to try and remove this first. But with the bleeding on it, we should be able to remove it next turn anyway. Yeah, so we can go like this. We still can remove it. We probably should. We still getting bleeding out this turn. Yeah, so we'll do it. We'll go here. This is, I believe, the correct thing. We want to consume this. Then we put out a bleeding here. It makes us use an extra leader here. So we want this tempo. And we don't have to do that there. But yeah, see, this was coming down next turn. So it's a good thing we removed it. Hopefully he doesn't get the second one. Okay, got the Antherian. That's much better for us here. Our cooldowns are a little bit messed up, but it's nothing to really worry about here. And honestly, he's a little far behind on points. We can probably get away with a Garcane here. He might pass. If we get him to pass without playing any additional Flutters, that'd be amazing, but I don't think that's going to be the case. Now, there's the Hawk. It's not a problem. We have the second Nekarat. But I think we'll just go with the Bruxa here first. This is Harmony, right? Yeah, we should bleed this away. There's good old Chameleon. He's got 3 Harmonies out. That's not too bad for Chameleon. I don't feel compelled to drop this Flutter or this Crimson Curse. If we're going to play Crimson Curse, though, it should be this turn. Because he's going to go here, and we have 5 turns left. I think he's going to keep playing, so we're going to play it. If he ends up not playing, we wasted a pretty big value card there. But I think he's going to keep going, and some more turns here, who knows? Yeah, like, he's got this, really good value. And I think we do definitely want this second Flutter and the Nekarat at this point. Oh, interesting, the Cleaver's Muscle. Definitely going to go with this. So he probably has a pair of poisons, which you have to watch out for. And he's going to start really getting this Harmony points at this rate. But we have stopped the movement points, which was very key here. He's closing in. He's closing in. I do think it's time to drop the second Flutter at this point. We were trying to be pretty conservative on playing that. But we're not going to be able to forever. What we want to do here is not bleed this row, because it gives us a higher chance of... Or this, not this one either, because it transforms, and not this one because we have Heat Wave, so on this. The reason we don't want to bleed this row is just because if there's less bleeding here, and he ends up passing, there's a higher chance that the bleeding goes to something without bleeding and actually triggers the Flutters. Still's an elf out, so that's not going to give him too much. So like what I'm saying here is there's a 75% chance this hits a non-bleeding thing, where if we bled like this, it would be like a 50. 15 points though. He can't replay this. I'm thinking about passing. Although since it's not the movement leader, he might be going for Quarixis, however you say it, in which case we do want more round control. He's getting a card off of this turn. Let's go for the Lady of the Night.
Your blood smells.
He's definitely passing, I think, here. Unless he has Heat Wave or a Reset card. So he's going to have a Heat Wave last then. At this point, we just pass. We have an 80% chance of getting 4 more points here, so we should be fine. This has to be Heat Wave for him to like have a chance, and then he's still going to have to leader. So we're happy with that. Very happy. Take the win on even. Still has a Heat Wave for the scenario. And yeah, looking pretty good. That's a card we'd like to see for sure. Oh, this hand is looking quite nice right now. Our leader can give us bleeding. I can't see right now. I think we have 1 charge left. If we have 1 charge left, we go Incubus into charge. This is actually kind of useful then, because it gives out bleeding. Not as useful as like Detlef or something though, so we will redraw it. That's a good card actually. Let's keep it. Let's actually keep that one. The reason that one is so good is that it gives us bleeding over 2 turns. So even once our leader runs out, oh, we should have a Flutter in here. There he is. Even once our leader runs out, we can still put this 3 bleeding out each turn for the rest of the round, basically, which is really good. So we go scenario here. We Heat Wave it. So we Heat Wave this.
I am one with nature. Are you?
Goes Quarixis leader probably. Go this. And then we have the option of if we want to Regis or not. We definitely want to play 1 more card because he's holding Unicorn Chironax. We force it out that way, which is 100% worth doing. we want to see is this be your Unicorn Kyrenax right now. Be by far the best situation. Okay, it's not. It's not Unicorn Kyrenax. So this gives us +3, and he takes 2 bleeding damage. So we'd go to 24, he'd go to 32. Then this would play 24 and 32. So he'd be up by 8. This would play for 17. We would be up by 9. He has 2 damage here, plus a point. So it's unlikely we win this with the Regis play. So we will pass. We're just going to hope this isn't like a Unicorn Kyrenax, like a Unicorn he draws into Kyrenax or something. We've bled out most of the big threats at this rate. We still have our Regis. And yeah, that's pretty good. Detlef would be our best card in our deck remaining. So we're going to look for him. Oneiromancy's obviously good. Bruxa versus Garcane. We're going to Oneiromancy out Detlef, so we should have bleeding. Which means I don't think we need the Bruxa. Oriana's interesting. Probably won't get a ton of value, but it won't be the worst card either. I think we go Garcane, Detlef, Oriana. Seems like the ordering. If he is playing... Okay, there's the Dana. That's the big card. We also wanted to force that out round 2, but we didn't. So that's a little bit awkward. We go for our Detlef.
There is no other way.
Hopefully he has anything big left. He didn't play the Dusk aspect either, which is annoying. And he has a really good hand, I guess, left over. He still has Dusk aspect. Well, that's not the best, as they say. However, our Regis is still really big. I don't think it's big enough, though. He already had the Beast. So... Close game. That's for sure. Very close game. Do take the win in the end. Got a lot scarier than I thought it would be there round 3, but looks like it worked out. So that's the deck. As you can see, it does pretty well. It obviously does pretty well in the long rounds. We have some control tools. The problem just is when you don't draw the control tools, which has happened, right? So, like, you saw in the, what was it? In the Kolgrim game, we just didn't have Oneiromancy, Heatwave, or Detlef. Or, we didn't have Oneiromancy, Regis, or Heatwave, so we just lost. There's not much you can do about that. I'm gonna leave that one in, because that's just, like, it can happen. But, there's also a Drakenborg game we lost, where by round 3, we hadn't drawn Oneiromancy or Heatwave. Just, by round 3, we had neither of them, so we just lost to Drakenborg. I'm gonna cut that game out, but that's what happened in that one. It's completely uninteresting to watch it, right? Because you're just waiting. If you don't draw these, you lose. So we're going to leave that one out. But as far as the rest of the games, the deck worked pretty well. The only thing is, like I said, sometimes we don't get our cards, which is due to the lack of thinning, really. We have consistency from Oneiromancy and Decree for getting our units. But for getting stuff like Heatwave, we just have the Oneiromancy and the Heatwave itself. Without, like, thinning cards, like, it's still a very consistent deck. It's just sometimes you just don't draw well and, you lose. But it happens. As far as the deck itself, I think if you want to fix that, you could go like trade an Alp for Maxi. I'm not sure how much that really fixes it. Adding the Maxi is fine, I think. I might consider doing this just because Maxi is useful to have. The thing is, the Alp's actually really useful for the Flutters, especially if you don't want to be using leader charges. The Alps give you good value, but you can put in the Maxian. I think I'll try this out just because we lost twice from not drawing Oneiromancy or Heatwave. I guess if it happened twice, I mean, that's so unlikely, though. It's like 90, 90-something% to get it by round 2 or 3. Or by round 3 or round 2, and it's like 95 by like round 3 to have one of them. But I guess it wasn't quite enough. So I don't know if that's just unlucky or if we should have a consistency card. Realistically, I think we should keep trying this and see how often that happens. I could also run the math, but don't really feel like it right now to run the math. But yeah, so we'll keep doing this, and then I think we might swap that out for a maxi if that seems to be a problem that recurs. But I do like the vampires. I do like the deck. I think having Oriana is really nice. It gives you options for a long round engine. I like her when you're playing Crimson Curse stat last, just because they put out a lot of bleedings to different units from the Blood Moon. And it's nice to have a way to take advantage of that. You could run Catachan. I think I mentioned this in the beginning. You could run Catachan, because it also puts out the, it also gives you engine value in a long round. I just like the Oriana a little better, because it gives you the deploy, which helps the flutter. So that one's up to you. And then, if you want to play more heavy in the bleeding, you can put in the Feast of Bloods in the deck, obviously. Not the Feast of Bloods, the Undying Thirsts. Then maybe even go in, if you want to be really going in on the bleeding, you put in Megascopes too. But I think that's a little overkill. It's a little overkill, but I do like the deck. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll see you in the next one. That'll be it for this one, guys. Hope you enjoyed. We'll see you next time. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more. And you can check out some more videos over here. And thanks for watching.